power worries. Annie?
Yeah, Brian, let's start by doing one of those new popular AI trends. Use this photo of me to create an action figure of myself in a blister pack and the style like a premium collectible toy. Wow. And there it is. You've probably seen fun images like this shared all over your social media, and it's fun, sure, but it takes an incredible amount of electricity to make stuff like this on top of all the other more sophisticated uses of AI. That's why we asked Indiana Michigan Power to sit down with us and answer our questions.
We're blessed with the big four: power, water, connectivity, and land.
All the characteristics drawing some of the world's biggest tech companies to Michiana, creating the Silicon Prairie.
So we know that we have some new customers coming into our territory, what we call large load, so mostly data centers at this point.
Data centers, complexes of computer servers running 24/7 for cloud computing and machine learning, aka artificial intelligence.
The Amazons, the Googles, that require a lot more energy than our typical customers do.
In St. Joseph County alone, Amazon Web Services is investing $11 billion into their new Carlisle data center complex. And to the east, Microsoft is planning its own data center.
They're popping up like mushrooms.
As our new neighbors move in, are we ready to meet their energy demands? First, how much power are we talking?
Balance that out.
I sat down with the Economic Development Director for St. Joseph County, Bill Shalio, to ask.
How big of a power user is Amazon Web Services compared to, say, the town of New Carlisle?
Oh, it would be, apples and oranges. It's such a big power user in comparison.
The AWS site over in the west side of the county will pull probably as much electricity as the city of South Bend is using currently.
So much energy, Indiana Michigan Power planning to double.
So in a very short amount of time, we're going to double the size of our company.
Data centers pull so much power, this Amazon Web Services location in New Carlisle will have 2 high-grade, specialized substations on site to process all the electricity that'll go into these buildings to run the servers non-stop.
They are basically big warehouses of server farms that run behind the scenes for AI in the cloud. So they need baseload power, or they need power 24/7. They need to have backup power as well, which is another issue.
This is Steve Francis from the SEED Consultancy. SEED meaning Sustainable Energy and Economic Development. He has immense concerns not only with the level of development.
I think that we're losing agricultural land, we're losing green space.
But with the ways in which Indiana plans to meet these energy demands.
We were on a trajectory to reduce our carbon in the United States close to 0 by 2050, specifically in the energy sector. And what Indiana has done by promoting data centers coming to Indiana is to completely upend that.
So, how exactly will St. Joseph County meet these demands?
I think it's something that Indiana has not prepared for, and that the utilities are really playing catch up.
I set out with ABC 57 Chief Meteorologist Tom Coombs to go straight to the source.
So first, let me say this is a really exciting time to work in the utility sector because everything is changing in terms of how we generate power, the amount of energy being generated, being demanded, that is all new.
We sat down with Stephanie Smith, Indiana Michigan Power's Director of Communications. I&M is the confirmed sole provider of power to the AWS data center, so the company must drastically increase its capacity and generation, and fast.
What is capacity and what is generation?
The capacity is how much energy we are able to take on as a system. Generation is the power, the energy that we are actually creating.
The company embraces an all-of-the-above approach, she says, diversifying the grid's energy sources.
So right now, we are generating about 4.5 gigawatts as a company. So it's 2025, right? By about 2031, that's going to go up to about 8 gigawatts. So in a very short amount of time, we're going to double the size of our company.
It's not just AWS, but that growing number of what she calls large load customers. Take a look at this chart from I&M's Integrated Resource Plan, or Power Forecast. See that line going up? That's the additional power load I&M has planned to meet the demand of the future. That load more than doubles.
How are we going to come up with all of that energy?
Our question exactly.
Where does the increase in generation come from?
So the increase in generation really comes from adding nuclear to that. So we will be pursuing relicensing Cook Nuclear up in Southwest Michigan.
Nuclear, providing over half of I&M's current power, a carbon-free source of baseload energy to the grid. They also want to build new nuclear technology called small modular reactors, starting with one in Spencer County. Operations are still about a decade away, so in the meantime, back to natural gas it is.
Natural gas produces millions of tons of carbon. They're going to install solar and wind, but it's not nearly enough to be able to meet those carbon targets.
Take a look at this chart again. Wind and solar will be added, that's green and orange, but much of the increase will be met by natural gas, highlighted in blue.
We submitted another filing to basically make our case for why we need to purchase a natural gas plant just south of Toledo.
At the same time, I&M is phasing out its coal production. Its Rockport coal plant will be shut down by 2028, replaced by the efforts to build small modular reactors.
We have not made any official change to our climate goals.
Our power worries go beyond the effects on carbon in our atmosphere to the effects on consumers, customers buying electricity to turn on the lights.
Because at the end of the day, the customer just wants to know, when I flip on the light switch, will the lights come on? If it's 90 degrees and humid, will the air conditioner run? If it's 20 degrees and cold, will my heat turn on?
We've had a lot of people that have the concern that, you know, you're going to provide power to the data center before you're going to provide power to me. They pay more, I pay less. There's a lot of different groups that provide power to different areas. So, you know, it's not as easy as this project's going to go in and it's going to cause me blackouts. It shouldn't ever get to that point if the power companies have managed their power properly.
So we're going to suffer from all the costs, and yet they're going to benefit from the business that's provided by building the data centers here.
According to Smith, I&M already codified customer protections.
So I can't tell you that your bill's going to go down
Right.
because these projects are coming in. I can't promise you that. But what I can tell you is that these projects won't hurt you as a customer.
The Indiana Utility Regulatory Commission approved what's called a large load tariff settlement. In short, if a company backs out of these plans, it's on them.
Those costs can't fall back onto our existing customers. And so we've codified this through this large load tariff, that company then is responsible for those costs.
Our energy grid is changing, expanding, modernizing, because ready or not, data centers are moving in, requiring a never-before-seen level of demand as Michiana becomes the Silicon Prairie.
After multiple interview requests, we were unable to get a sit-down interview with the representative from Amazon Web Services, but we got a statement from an AWS spokesperson that reads in part, quote, "Where we require specific infrastructure to meet our needs, we work to make sure that we're covering those costs and that they aren't being passed on to other ratepayers," end quote.
Annie, thank you, Tom. Fascinating stuff. A lot of people are worried about their own bottom lines, right? There will be enough energy, they say, but will it cost more? Could people's bills go up because of this increased demand?
You know, the sentiment I got from I&M was, the answer is no. But do we benefit from this? It doesn't seem like the average user benefits or gets much harm from this. We may benefit from some grid improvements overall, but there's no real benefit or, at this point, negative as far as bills going up or down.
It should not cost people more, you don't think?
You know, they're saying it's not going to, but, you know, for a lot of folks, it's a I'll believe it when I see it kind of situation here, because even though we're getting reassurances from both AWS and I&M, there are a lot of folks that are still holding on to those power worries, and they are just going to wait and see.
We'll see what happens. Thank you guys for staying on top of it. Fascinating report.